Each of us comes into this world with a life purpose, and we can sort of call this our divine journey. But what we have to be careful of is that sometimes we might struggle against our own hearts, because life is a journey marked by countless challenges, personal trials, and moments of revelation. Among these, the struggle against our own hearts stands as one of the most profound and transformative battles that we will ever face. In this journey, we come to understand that God's messages are deeply personal and uniquely crafted for each of us. These messages, often subtle and intricate, speak to our inner souls, urging us towards growth, faith, and deeper communion with the divine. This video is going to explore the struggle against our own hearts, the personalized nature of God's messaging, and the power of faith in drawing us closer to God. So let's talk first about the personal nature of divine messages. God communicates with his creation in manifold ways. Sometimes the messages are clear and unmistakable, while other times they can be wrapped in subtlety, and it might require a bit more thinking along with introspection and spiritual discernment. But what remains constant, however, is that God's messages are deeply personal. They are crafted to reach each individual's heart and mind in ways that resonate with their unique experiences, their unique struggles, and their spiritual needs. No two people will really receive or perceive God's messages in the same way. One person may feel a divine nudge through a sermon, another through a personal loss, and yet another through the beauty of nature itself. But these divine and diverse experiences can underscore the intimate relationship God fosters with each and every one of his children. He knows our hearts intimately. He understands our silent struggles, and he sends messages that speak directly to the depths of our soul, of our being. The personalized nature of these messages is a testament to God's love, to his wisdom, and his intimate knowledge of all of his creation. So what about the unique struggle of each heart out here, right? The human heart is complex and multifaceted, and it's often torn between worldly desires and spiritual aspirations. The internal struggle between what we desire and what we know is righteous is a universal experience, yet the nature of this struggle is deeply personal, shaped by our individual backgrounds, by our individual experiences, and our spiritual journeys. Each person's spiritual battle is remotely, but nonetheless, firmly unique. One individual may grapple with pride, another with fear, another with doubt. Some may struggle to forgive, while others may wrestle with surrendering control to God. Each trial is a test designed not for punishment, but for purification and growth. God's messages during these times are meant to guide, comfort, and strengthen us. They remind us that the path to spiritual maturity is often paved with trials that challenge us to confront and overcome the deepest struggles within our own hearts. These may be trials by fire. So let's talk about the purpose of the spiritual tests themselves. Life's trials are not arbitrary. They're not random. They are divinely orchestrated to refine and strengthen our character. Throughout Scripture, we may see examples of God's faithful servants being tested. Abraham's willingness to sacrifice Isaac, Job's steadfast faith amongst suffering, even Moses in leading the Israelites and the endurance that he had to manifest. These tests were not designed to break these men of God, but to shape them into stronger vessels of faith and obedience. Even with Ruth, we saw also the same kind of thing. Our tests are opportunities for spiritual growth. They are moments when God molds our character, deepens our understanding, and draws us closer to him. During these trials, God's messages are going to serve as beacons of light, illuminating the path before us and reminding us of the unwavering presence of the divine. Though the tests may be extremely difficult, there are also moments of profound grace, for they reveal God's desire for us to grow into the fullness of our spiritual potential. So we must remain strong in faith. Faith is the anchor that steadies the soul in turbulent waters. Remaining strong in faith, especially during life's trials, is essential for spiritual growth and closest to God. Faith is not merely a passive belief, but an active trust in God's wisdom, love, and providence. It is the courage to believe in God's plan, even when the path is unclear, and even when the strength to hold on to the promises of the divine may prove challenging when the circumstances are extremely difficult. Remaining strong in faith requires prayer, reflection, and a conscious effort to align our hearts and minds with God's will. It involves surrendering our fears, surrendering those doubts and all of our desires to God and trusting that the plan is greater than our understanding. Each act of faith, no matter how small, strengthens our bond with God and deepens our spiritual maturity. Remember, God's ways are not necessarily our ways, and God is omniscient, so there are things that we don't get to see. Faith is nurtured through community and scripture. Surrounding ourselves with fellow believers may very well help because it provides us encouragement and accountability. Religion for the sake of religion is not necessarily a beneficial thing, but being surrounded by people who are committed to faithfulness to God may help us to fortify our hearts against doubt and despair, ensuring that we remain steadfast in faith. So let's keep in mind that we have a parent-child relationship with God, whether you think of God as the father or the mother or just the force that is out there that is over all of us. A parent will guide, discipline, and nurture their child as God does with us. God's wisdom is rooted in love, and God's discipline is meant to teach and protect. Understanding God's messages and tests through the lens of a parent-child relationship helps bring us comfort and clarity. When we face trials, we can trust that they come from a place of love designed to shape us into the very best versions of ourselves. Just as a parent desires their child to grow into a responsible and compassionate human being and adult, God desires us to grow into spiritually mature, discerning individuals who reflect God's love and grace. Moreover, God's care is deeply personal and deeply intimate. God knows our struggles, hears our prayers, and walks with us through each and every trial. God's love is eternal and it's very steadfast as well, and God's mercy is boundless and God's presence is constant. Recognizing this parental care fosters trust and security, enabling us to embrace life's challenges with confidence and hope, and knowing that we are well along the way in our spiritual journey. The journey of faith is, in this way, a truly unique experience. While we share a collective identity as believers, each person's path is unique. God's messages, our struggles, and our spiritual victories are tailored to our own individual missions. This understanding fosters a sense of personal responsibility, reminding us that our relationship with God is ours and ours alone to nurture and cultivate. Embracing this personal journey requires humility, honesty, and an openness to God's guidance, and God will speak to you in many ways if you know how to listen. It involves listening for God's messages even when they challenge us or even cause us extreme discomfort. It means facing our internal struggles with courage and trusting God's refining fire will produce spiritual strength, bravery, and resilience. It is about recognizing that while others may walk alongside us, that our relationship with God is a sacred and individual bond that we must personally cultivate. It should never necessarily cause us to cause intentional harm to others. So what is the reward for perseverance? Well, perseverance in faith yields profound rewards. As we endure trials and remain steadfast in our commitment to God, we experience a deeper spiritual insight, a stronger character, and a deeper connection with the divine. Each victory over internal struggle is a step closer to the fullness of our spiritual maturity. Furthermore, our perseverance becomes a living testament to others. Through our spiritual journey, we can inspire and encourage those around us. Our resilience, our trust, and our faithfulness serve as a beacon of light to the others who are out there navigating their own deeply personal struggles. In this way, our personal victories can contribute to the collective faith journey of the community at large, and most importantly, perseverance leads us closer and closer to God. As we grow through our trials by fire, we come to know God's love, we come to know God's mercy and God's faithfulness more deeply each and every day. We develop a profound trust in God's plans and experience the joy of an intimate personal relationship with God. This closeness is the ultimate reward because it fulfills the deepest longing of the human heart to be unified with our Creator, with our parent in love and purpose. In conclusion, the struggle against our own hearts is a truly sacred and transformative journey. It is a path marked by personal trials, divine messages, and moments of deep spiritual growth. Understanding the divine and the messaging that the divine sends us is uniquely personal and crafted for each and every one of us, but it invites us to embrace our individual journeys with courage, discernment, and faith. Each struggle, each test, each victory is a step closer to God, drawing us into a deeper communion with the Most High. Remaining strong in faith, trusting in the Most High's parental love, and persevering through trials fortify our hearts and shape our character, while our journeys are, for each and every one of us, quite different, they are still universal in a sense as well, having some shared human longing for divine connection and spiritual growth. When we embrace this journey head on, we discover the profound truth that God is ever present, God is out there, God is ever loving, and God is always giving us little nudges and guides towards our ultimate purpose. In the end, the struggle against our own hearts is not a battle to be feared, but a sacred journey to be embraced, one that leads us ever closer to the heart of God, where love, mercy, and eternal peace abound always.